For years it waited, hidden in the forgotten temple of Kalamor, until one day it was found.
Hunted the Demon's Forge, which is... Oh, lordy. I had some weird hope for this game that it was going to be, because I saw the trailers for it. It looked like it could be something different. So like a developer pitched a meeting where they were like, "What if we had Gears of War, but it was a hack and slash RPG, but that we took out all of the RPG elements, and you
took out all the Gears of War elements too."
And so what you're left with is this really, it's a game with so much potential that was just squandered. I don't know.
Well,
Jason,
you play as Kadak and Ilara. Kadak's your big barbarian guy, and your partner is Ilara, an elven archer. So yeah, you've got your fantasy tropes there. Your quick archer with the ranged weapons, and then your barbarian guy with the up-close brawling and strength and everything. And you can switch out at certain points in the game and play either one of them.
Yeah.
And some levels are more suited to playing with another. And with multiplayer, you can play with somebody else and split the screen, which screws up everything. You can't see shit. It's just the style and the level design really is not complemented by cutting it down by 50% and squeezing it into half the screen.
Now, see, I think
it doesn't work.
I think that the point at which this game kind of lost me was, well, it was about 20 minutes in, but there was I hate Kadak and Ilara. Like, I think they're the stupidest protagonist from a video game that I've played in a while. Now, I don't know. I just got done playing Call of Juarez, so that
they make some dumb decisions.
When you are in a fantasy world and the portal to blackness opens up and the stripper version of Death walks out,
right?
Totally white, dressed in black, whale tail, tramp stamp, oozing with evil, and seductively says, "I can make all of your dreams come true, but first you need to do something for me. Pick up the Death Skull."
yeah, it's like, just touch it. No, really. It's like someone pulling the rotten milk out of the fridge. Oh, this is terrible. Taste this.
Well, what's funny is that she says to pick him up, and to pick up the Death Skull, and not only is it this evil-ass looking skull sitting in the middle of this ominous pedestal, there's actually a skeleton with its hand on the skull. Right? Like this was the last poor asshole who tried to touch the Death Skull.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I don't know how that got there. Just go ahead and touch it.
No, that guy was dead already. He was dead when I got here, I promise.
Right.
And so what happens is, Kadak says, "Well, I don't know. This seems a little sketchy." And Ilara's like, "Fuck you," and just grabs the Death Skull. And then suddenly you're off on this quest to do something.
You're embroiled in this weird thing, and it doesn't really explain it very well. You're just kind of getting pushed along from one thing to the next. But I actually, in spite of that incredibly stupid opening decision, liked Kadak and Ilara, because I just loved their banter.
Is that what I think it was?
If you're thinking giant eye, then yes.
Do you think it saw us?
It was a giant eye.
They were these two characters where they weren't romantically tied, but they were buddies, and they were always smarting off to each other. And I thought it was hilarious. I thought there was some really good back and forth with them. It had a sardonic wit to it.
Yeah, no, that was definitely good, and I like the fact that it was like what Kadak is afraid of spiders, and Ilara is afraid of heights, and so you alternate between the game every time they find a spider. Ilara's like, "You're a pussy," and then whenever they get up really high, Kadak's like, "How you doing over there, fucking short pants?" And
yeah, and she's like, "Screw you, Kadak."
I do say that
they're constantly talking shit to each other in like a buddy cop kind of way.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just wish that there had been a little bit more. There had been a little bit more of a reason for them to be doing what they're doing, because they're ostensibly doing all of this saving the world stuff because they want to get paid. And there was one point in the game where I literally yelled at the TV where they're in the middle of this city where there's this giant war going on, and Kadak goes, man, how do we get ourselves into this sort of thing? And I'm like, because you're doing it. If you just turned around and left, you wouldn't be getting yourself into shit anymore.
That's one of the things that I liked, is that they were reluctant heroes. They were mercenaries, but really they were like, all right, we need to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And I liked that. And, yeah, some of the weapons are cool. You got your Diablo descriptions, like, the bow of soul breaking and your typical stuff like that. But each of them has a different ability, and after a while you can upgrade them, and you can upgrade where you can carry more weapons and stuff like that.
You can't upgrade the weapons, but you can upgrade to get 2 slots.
Oh, right. Yeah. I'm sorry, you can upgrade to a new weapon, not upgrade the weapons themselves. Upgrade to something better as you find it along the way, but yeah, the RPG elements are really pared down, and they should have stuck with that. They should have made it a lot more robust, because you're right, instead it was just pretty much an action brawler type thing.
Yeah, I mean, if they had you could carry the different weapons, but the problem was there were only 10 different weapons in the game. You keep finding the same, and so you had your
that's true.
Your slow, fast weapon, your short, your light, quick weapon, and then your medium weapon, and there were kind of variations on that throughout the entire game. And there was some armor in the game, but it was like these shards that you would pick up, and they would give you a little bit to your armor. Whereas if they had a full-on armor system and inventory management system, if they had pushed the loot system as if it was Diablo, as if it was a Diablo or a WoW or something like that, where you're constantly picking up new stuff and you're really put to a hard choice, not just hard and slow weapon or a quick fast weapon. If you had really been put to a hard choice between, well, this weapon does this kind of status damage and this weapon does knockback, or it has more damage, it really could have made the game a lot more interesting, because
that would have added so much.
Yeah, I mean, in spite of what I'm bitching about with the story, it still was a fairly interesting story. They added in this crazy goop. Slag. There you go.
It was like the fantasy version of PCP.
Yeah. And there were some interesting parts where you had to make a choice in the game between do you drink this stuff that everybody's getting horribly addicted to and they're turning into crazy spider people, or do you not drink it and get killed and have to do the same level over and over again? And so
I finally broke down, and I knew there were going to be consequences towards the end of the game if you drank the slag. I did. I just said, all right, I get my ass kicked here, and so yeah, hook me up.
I played through one of the levels, one of those little arena spots where the guys come out in waves at you, and I played through one of those a good 12 times just so I didn't have to use the slag to get through it.
Yeah.
But
one of the things that was weird to me is the game comes with its own level designer.
Yeah, that's the thing about this game is thoroughly frustrating, because it just seems like if it had been a little bit more polished and had a little bit more, if the designers had just been a little bit more ambitious, this could have been the gem of the year, the unspoken, who ever heard of this game before? And then suddenly it's in everybody's top 10. But yeah, they have a whole system where you can essentially pick certain types of rooms and certain level skins, and you can build your own little level that you can then go online, upload for the community to play, and get rankings on who's able to play it the best. And I mean, it was after the game was done, if you liked the gameplay, there was literally infinite replayability, because you just ran this dungeon.
You go through the whole game getting all this gold, and by the end of the game, I'm like, why am I collecting this gold? I'm not doing anything with it. There are no stores. There are no shops. You can't go into any fantasy brothels, and have sex with a hot gnomish chick or anything. No, none of that. And by the end, you realize, I have to have the gold to unlock stuff to build my own levels. And so I'm like, okay, so I've got this gold, and I played all the way through it, and I can buy a room and these 2 bad guys to put there, and that's it. And so I was like, okay, so I've got to play through the game in order to make a convincing level. I got to play through the game, 17 more times. All right, no, fuck you.
Yeah. Plus, you spend the entire single-player game creating it does have the light elements of like picking up new weapons and getting armor and stuff, and you spend the game kind of getting your character the way you want them and customizing and stuff. And then, can you bring that character into those rooms? No. Nope, go to hell.
You're right.
Like, just start over from level 1, same bullshit starting crap. I mean, you can customize it, but it just seemed like a no-brainer. It seemed like the sort of thing where it should have been something that was in there from the start. And
Yeah. And that said, though, again, I liked the game. I thought it was fun. It's forgettable. It missed a lot of opportunities. Some of the design is very dark and dirty, almost to a detriment at points where you have to turn up the brightness on your TV to see the rest of it. But overall, I thought it was fun. I mean, I just like using exploding bows and blowing the shit out of a bunch of people like I'm the Dukes of Hazzard with their dynamite bow and arrow, and yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought the banter was there. It's not a great game, but I thought there was a lot of neat action to it. One other complaint, though. The enemies were very repetitive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there were
It's like
only
the same guys over and over and over.
I mean, what was it, like 4 or 5 levels into the game, they finally introduced the Minotaur guys.
Minotaurs, yeah.
And that kind of changes things up a little bit. And then 4 levels after that, they bring in the kind of the big demons that show up once or twice more in the game. But all in all, it's mostly the same kind of real...
Urukai.
Yeah, the real trashy little Urukai mobs over and over again, which just were not satisfying. I mean, after you get about 2/3 of the way in the game, it's just you're going through the motions. You're not really doing anything for real.
Yeah, very linear, very very linear.
Also, I'd have to say the melee mechanics I thought with Kadak, and even Alara can do melee as well, but I thought that having this whole cover, it is very kind of Gears of War sticky cover. The entire world is filled with waist high walls for you to hide behind. That the melee combat was really unsatisfying to me. Like about 20-30 minutes into the game, I switched over to Alara and didn't switch back for the whole rest of the game.
Yeah, well, it was pretty much just run up and if you were doing melee, run up and push buttons until the other guy falls down.
So, all in all, what do you say?
I would say rental.
Yeah,
I think it's fun. I think there's a lot right with it, but they miss a lot of opportunities, and and plus the game just kind of looks like it came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I would say that too. The graphics aren't the best, and like I said, there's a lot of missed beats as far as the development goes. But it could be the sort of thing that you could play co-op, for fun over the course of a weekend with somebody, and then kind of forget that it ever existed.
Right, exactly. It's a nice diversion.
Two mercenaries, they are interfering. Hunt them down and end them.